Welcome to Our Life, Entrepreneurship. Do you really know the true meaning of this word? So let me give you a quick removing the mask fact. Were you aware there are 4 types of entrepreneurship? Scalable setup, small businesses, large businesses, and social entrepreneurship. So when we return, I'll have an awesome group of entrepreneurs that will remove the mask on true entrepreneurship, from starting a storefront to owning a liquor brand. So we'll be right back.
Do you have less than perfect credit? Are you getting denied for loans and credit cards? Well, contact us today for your free consultation and learn the secrets of financial freedom. We can help with late payments, collections, judgments, bankruptcies, will, trust, and more. We get results. Let us help you. For more information, contact Nikki Ferguson at 281-788-9462.
Okay guys, we're back with my first set of awesome entrepreneurs. So I have Miss Kenya from Business Builder Team. I want to break and I have my longtime friend Ty Morrison from Star Class Travel, and she's been rocking with me since I first started this media thing when I was terrified and fussing all the time. But I want to thank you ladies for both being here. I wanted you guys first because you are a master builder. And that's what, I don't know if you ever gave yourself that title, but I'm giving it to you today.
Yes, she is.
You are a master builder in helping people build their businesses. So tell us about that, because I want to start off with that first, because I think a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs and they have this vision in their head, or they might even write it down, and I'm one of those type of people. I don't write nothing down. Well, I write, you know, questions, but so far as the vision of where I want to go, I've never written it down. It stays in my head and then I execute it. But I think a lot of people just want to start stuff and get out there and don't have a clue or a plan or correct direction. So tell us about that.
Yes. Well, what specifically, how I ended up getting into this industry was the failure of my first business. My first business was a woman's work production where I did stage plays, and because of the mishaps and the decisions that I made with that project, I ended up on Judge Mathis because I mismanaged a few things. And so one of the actors took me on the Judge Mathis show, and it was a very humiliating moment for me, because up until that point, it was this big thing about me doing this production at the Hobby Center, and now I have to go before the people, and the same people that were applauding me are now about to be exposed to my mismanagement. And in the process of that, after we filmed, I remember going back to my hotel room and I'm like, Lord, don't let me be a public success and a private failure. I need to do something different. And so then I began to do the research, and I re-enrolled in school for business management. And while in school, I began to realize the need in the market for someone like myself to offer the things that were being offered, because although the SBA, you have SCORE, you have all these different organizations, some of the organizations are not available for those entrepreneurs who are dreaming while they work. So once they are done with their day jobs, it's not a resource for them to reach out to. And so I got into this, and I'm very transparent with the clients about the need to plan and to understand that you can start a business, but it's about managing the business.
I agree with that, because I tell people all the time I have 3 titles. I'm an executive producer, a host, and I'm an owner. But if I can't do the producing and the hosting correctly, me being the owner and the founder don't mean anything whatsoever at all if I can't do the other part correctly. So tell us about Star Class Travel, because you the travel expert that travels, because you just came back, didn't you?
From Jamaica.
You see what I'm talking about? See?
With Star Class Travel, you know, I started 11 years ago. Last Wednesday was my anniversary, 11 years in the business. So it is a full-service travel agency here in Houston, Texas, and we specialize in group trips as well as special events around the world. So.
But you not only do Star Class Travel.
Yes, I have Star Class Entertainment as well, which that was established in 2016.
Okay.
Right.
See what I'm talking about? What led each of you to step out and start your own companies?
Well, I shared a little bit about why it was important for me to start my own company, and my new venture is not so much about myself and my desire to help other entrepreneurs. My new venture was more about my family. I come from a generation of business owners, of entrepreneurs. My great-granddad was Mr. McCarter, and he had relationships with Montebello Lumber Company. They've been around since 1905 or something like that, 1918. And my family literally owned the first grocery corner store in Fifth Ward area. And upon the generations progressing, those that were before me, after my granddad passed, they kind of let that die off. And so I said, you know, I want to revitalize my family's name and create something to reestablish what I saw with my granddad was
Because that grocery store was in Fifth Ward, right? I did write notes about y'all. That grocery store was in Fifth Ward. Because you are also Brunch and Beauties, you're Texas ambassador for National Curry Day. You do a whole lot of stuff. Both of you do, actually. Right. What made you step out?
Well, I've always planned events for me and my friends, and then of course travel as well. And so when I moved here to Houston, I work with a local travel company, and he took me on his wing. I, learned the ropes of the travel business, more like you said, on the management side, how to run a business. And then in 2010, I stepped out on my own. I mean, it hasn't been an easy walk, but I think it's rewarding. It's just like Kenny was saying, how to manage the business.
Yeah, because you have to know both sides of it. You can't just know one side.
Right.
With me, I'm in front of a camera, but I do know the other side to it.
Right.
I do know the back side to it, and you
Right.
have to. What would you say should be the first thing we need to do when starting a business?
I would say I started a little backwards when I started my business. Like you said, we all want to jump and start a business. So I established my business name, and I first got a DBA, now I have an LLC, but I didn't have the business intact far as like, who was my audience?
Yeah.
Website, those type of things. And that's what Kenya does. She's great at helping you build your business so you can understand the backside of it, your paperwork. Make sure you have your articles of formation, everything in order to be able to not just have a business, but manage and run your business. So I think that was important for me later down the line. But when I first started, I just wanted to start and get out there. But now it's very important to know how to start your business the correct way.
Yeah, because I think with a lot of, as we went through COVID,
Yes.
all these businesses, how do you shut down after 30 days?
Yeah.
That's because you wasn't managing it correctly the first time.
I call those businesses that were on life support. They were already on life support before COVID, and COVID just exposed the condition that the business was in.
Exactly.
And that's a big thing. Ty, with both of her companies, they've been my company's clients. And so a lot of the business owners, there were a lot of things that a lot of people did not qualify for because of them not having their business properly in alignment. And then there are a lot of things that business owners can take advantage of that are resourceful, that many of them, when they come across, to my business, I discover that they're ill prepared and they're not ready to do that, because the number one thing is your operations costs.
Because people just want to, I think today, people just want to say they have some kind of title. And it's a lot that comes with that title. It's a lot that comes with that title. What is the first mistake do new business owners make?
The first mistake, what Ty just mentioned, they go, I went and got my DBA, and I'm like, do you really want me to explain to you what that is?
Right.
You literally are saying, I'm myself, but I'm going to do business with this name. And if you're in like an industry where it's either makeup or salon, anything where a person can come, if you make their hair fall out, you use an inappropriate product, you're going to be sued, and now you are totally liable. So they can come after your car, your house, all of this stuff, and you're just doing business which makes you a risk. And some people avoid it because, you with an LLC, if you're a one-member LLC, then you still are filed as, it's not really beneficial tax bracket-wise, but it's beneficial asset-wise. So that's one of the things. And then another one, I made a post about it on Facebook. If they're opening a spa, they'll be like, Beauty and Beyond LLC, and I'm like, well, no, your LLC is like Procter and Gamble, and then your other companies is diaper,
underneath the
LLC to protect. That's your umbrella to protect everything else, Right. So those are some of the common mistakes that I see a lot of entrepreneurs make.
And I think being in the travel business, that was one of the mistakes I made doing business as. And in travel, when things don't go the way a client wants, they try to come back and want their money back. And a lot of times when the money is already paid out or tied up, we don't get money back. Now you're running the risk of them coming after you, trying to sue you. So when I got that LLC, then now you have to get a bond and be protected, with your business. And one thing, again, Kenya helped me set up was my enterprise. So now I have Star Class Enterprise, and I have all of my businesses now aligned under that, under that LLC. So.
Y'all better do it. I love it. I love it. How important is it to always know everything that is going on with your company? Because I think also with a lot of business owners, I try to delegate and leave stuff alone. I think I've done well. I think I've done better. But I'm still hands-on.
Yeah.
Because I feel I need to know everything that's going on. Because if something happens and I don't know, I'm not going to be a happy camper.
Right. And not only that, it falls back on you.
All day long.
Because with my travel agency, I have other agents, and it's been times where they've done things without telling me. Not that I, not to my knowledge that, I just don't know, but the way they went about doing something, and it came back to bite us in the butt, per se. So you have to know what's going on. You have to, sometimes we want to take our hands off, but I still think sometimes you have to have a little hands-on and also have recaps and meetings and kind of understand, hey, what's going on? Anything you're working on this week or today? That helped me a little better in my business.
And see, also with that, what you just said, how you have agents that work for you, how important it is to have a good team. I had to learn that.
Yeah.
I had to learn that the hard way.
And then with your team dynamic,
through the years.
It's always going to be, especially when you're adding a new person into the team, you're gonna be basically trying to adjoin everyone all over again, because now you have a new individual, a new personality, this person that wants to come in with these new ideas, these new concepts for the business, and everybody else is like, no, this is what we've been doing. We're fine. And so you have to learn how to gel. And for me, one thing I really learned about the development of my team was utilizing resources. I'm real big on, as a business, pay for what you must and resource whatever you can. And so I created the model for the team, but decided that I wanted to use the work source to assist me with what would my human capital really look like without me eating all of the costs, because that's a very expensive part of the business, but it's necessary if the business wants to incrementally grow, to have a really good team.
Yeah, you have to. And
That's
I said, I learned that over the years. I think now it's a small team I have, but I think I have a very good team.
And you just said the key thing, because a lot of people think the bigger the team, the better, and it's not. It's not about the quantity; it's the quality of what you possess. And this week, for this particular business, we celebrated our 5th year. So I've only had this business for 5 years, but I've been in the industry for 10. And I had to, recast and start switching people out and run across people that just kind of get excited and they fall in love with your platform. So they want to be on the platform, but not really play the game with you.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
Yeah. And with me, for what I do, quality is very important to me. I can't put out, if it looks like crap, how am I going to have sponsors and people that's going to, buy into the journey? So one thing most I like about you two, she's helped you with your business.
Oh, yes.
But y'all know how to work together.
Yes.
Y'all know how to work together. And with that, you guys started your own podcast.
Yes, we did.
I'm gonna say, Mike, I'm gonna say because I can't say the word.
On your ish. we saying ish.
Your own podcast. So, what's next for each of you? And tell us about the podcast.
Well, the podcast was something that we discussed. We wanted to do this 6-city tour and have this conversation with women all over the globe.
You still can do that.
And we're going, and so I told Ty, I said, listen, I've been talking with you about this concept as friends, but now I have to put my business hat on.
Right.
We're gonna have to kind of scale this back and create a platform where we can allow our voices to tell the narrative, and kind of we build from there.
Yeah.
And so we both agreed about doing the podcast, and we launched January the 31st.
Yes.
But what a lot of people don't know is we worked behind the scenes on this for about a year.
Yeah, because it takes a while.
It takes a while.
People want to just throw stuff together to get out there.
And let me tell you, work with Miss McCarter here, she's not going to let you throw nothing together.
And it's been a journey, even with us having to figure out the best usage of individuals for our videography.
Right.
It's still challenges.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
because
it is.
the only reason we're like flowing with it is because of us having our prior businesses, so we know that, social media and everybody, they get to see the edited
Right,
complete
part of
Yeah, but
version.
you're not seeing what's really
But you don't
going
see what
on.
go on behind the
Yeah.
scenes. And
Right.
so, even when you have the best thing in place and a really great foundation, having a great foundation just help you pivot when those moments come up.
Right.
But they come up.
Yeah, they do.
I know. you know I know. I've been doing this for a minute, so you know I know. So what's next for you guys? And give us your social media handles and
Well,
stuff
what's
like that.
next is we have a podcast coming up next week, so make sure you follow us on your ish podcast on Facebook and Instagram. What I have coming up next, I have to start class entertainment business. I have my relaunch tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I relaunched, I have a partner now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So we're relaunching that side of the business, which really picked up during COVID. I'm working on a wine and a candle line that hopefully the end of this year I'll be able to launch. So we're working on that, and we're just working to continue to work our podcast and our businesses. So.
Yes, and I just recently relaunched my family's business, and it deals more with industrial work and logistics work. So I'm looking forward to creating a lot of opportunities for men in general, and helping with the grooming them for success. And my focus point is all men, but mostly African American men, and finding leaders within that and helping them navigate and own their way.
Okay. Okay. Well, I want to thank both of you ladies definitely for being here with me.
You will so much for having us.
Thank you for coming back. When we return, I will have another awesome entrepreneur.
$100 on chicken nuggets.
$100 on chicken nuggets. Really?
How'd you get in my house?
I'm with Wisdom Tax.
Wisdom Tax, so you can help me with all of this.
Most definitely. Looks like you need help in bookkeeping.
So what about maximizing my refund?
We can only maximize your refund if you get organized. Here at Wisdom Tax and Financial, we teach you how to be free. Free.
Free? Awesome. So I can be free of these receipts.
Most definitely. Please give us a call.
Thank you. Can you free yourself out of my house, please?
Only if you promise to give us a call.
I'll give you a call. So I can be free.
Wisdom Tax. Learn to be free.
We're back now with my next entrepreneur, Mr. DJ 2D. Very well known here in Houston. Thank you for finally coming sit down and talking with me. So let's talk a little bit. What was the one thing that sparked the fire to own your own business and to do your own thing?
Honestly, I'm not really sure, because I kind of always been like that. Like, even as a kid, just to kind of give you an idea, like, I would go, when I did celebrate Halloween, I would go trick-or-treating, get a bag of candy. I might eat 5 pieces of it and go to school and sell all the rest of it.
So you've been an entrepreneur
I've
since
kind
you
of
was
always
a kid?
been that, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Much.
Did you get that from someone in your family? Or it's
I've never seen anybody else like me in my family at all.
Wow.
Other than like liking music, I've never seen anybody approach life the way I do.
That's because normally kids will see someone doing it and then they decide they want to do it. It's very few, I think, that would just come up with that idea to do it themselves. What would you say to an entrepreneur that feels they're failing and wants to quit? Because I think a lot of us, I know for me, I've been doing this for 10 years. For 8 of those years, I cried every day and wanted to quit. And I was determined to quit every day. And every time I tried to quit, someone said, they would call and say, can you do this or can you do that? And then I continued on and I just continued on. And then after the 8 years, I think God just came to me and said, okay, you finally realize now that's what you're supposed to be doing. So what would you say to somebody that wants to quit?
Everybody that is where you want to be failed their way there.
Yep. They just don't tell that story.
Well, a lot of times we don't get to know of that story because they're not famous then. It's like when Oprah was first starting, she was told that she wasn't fit for TV. Had she listened, think about how many people she's employed in schools she's built and stuff like that. Had she listened to this person, she wouldn't be there. And almost everybody that's where we want to be, whether it's entertainment or sports or whatever, has a similar story. So, I mean...
Because I was told that I could not do this.
Oh, you
10
too?
years ago. Yeah, I was told that by a family member.
You too?
You want to be on TV, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because at that time, 10 years ago, all we saw was people like Oprah and all of them. So you didn't see someone like me with no broadcasting degree being on television. And I was told I couldn't do that. And now, 10 years later, I'm still on Access Cable And on all streaming platforms.
A lot of times people broadcast their limitations on you. A lot of times I don't get. I used to get offended by that kind of stuff, but then I just understand that they operate with a limited understanding. Even in the Bible, it say, "Cast not your pearls before swine." Part of what that means is you can't tell your dream to everybody, because faith comes by hearing and hearing, in both negative and positive. So people keep telling you, you can't.
Yeah, and that's what
At
you're gonna believe.
some point, you're gonna start believing it, and it's likewise. Sometimes you gotta just kind of keep your dream to yourself and keep building on it, and let it get to a point where it has built so much momentum that can't nobody really slow it down.
Yeah, I agree. You do a lot, especially lately with us going through the pandemic, the freeze, what we haven't been through in the past couple of years with Houston. So you do a lot of work in the communities, in the community of Houston. So tell us about all the community work and the awareness you're bringing to the Houston community, because you do a lot of stuff. I work during the week, so I can't come out and meet you.
Well, I mean, I've been self-employed for the last 20 years. I've been blessed to be self-employed for the last 20 years, and so it affords me the ability to kind of maneuver in a more fluid fashion than some other people. But I've been involved in the community in my entire life, literally. It's just to the point where people are starting to know about it, like now, because of, I guess with me doing entertainment, it kind of bleeds into the other stuff. But like, my first event was when I was 19. I did a car wash for canned goods to raise food for the food bank. So I kind of always been doing that too. In the course of my life, I have saved 9 lives so far, 8 or 9 lives. So I kind of always been this person. I just get better at being that person.
And you serving the purpose God wants you to serve.
Indeed, that's really the thing that leads me most of the time. So that's why sometimes it seems like these things I do in the community come from out of the blue, because that's kind of how it happens to me. I might be sitting like when Harvey happened. My house didn't get flooded. I didn't lose nothing. I could have just stayed in the house. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking what I should do. And God said, you know what I want you to do. And I went and did it. And that's the simplest way to explain it. God tells me to do something and I do it. And oftentimes when you see me do something, you're like, that's crazy. I'm just doing what God said.
Exactly.
And it's going to look crazy to other people.
Because I do a lot of stuff that people think are crazy, or well, why you didn't do it this way, or why that's not the way I was supposed to do it. What are you doing? I know you've been doing a lot of stuff in the community, especially since the freeze, and then still dealing with the pandemic and people not having water. What's next for the? Well,
I've been working with a couple of different organizations. Shout out to UNPU, All Neighborhoods Popular United, and I've also been working with United Stars and helping to feed the community throughout the city. The city has been affording food to the different organizations, and we've been distributing them around the community. Beyond that, doing some community cleanups. I'm building on the Black Saturday initiative that I'm working on, and working on mentoring a lot of these young guys that I run into.
That's my next question for you. What would you say to young men that have dreams but scared to make them happen, and they're going down the wrong path? Because I know a lot of people say we, especially people of color, we need to see people of color doing something that we want to do. But I'm also the type of person, if you have a dream or goal in your head, even from the time when you're little, regardless if you don't see that person of color doing it, do it. Don't hold back. Just do it. Who gonna tell you no?
Oftentimes you don't see them doing it because you was the one that was supposed to do it. That's why you ain't seen nobody else doing it yet. Yeah. Because it's supposed to be you.
Yeah. So just do it. How? Because it's a lot. In the past year, a lot of crime, a lot of stuff going on. How can we turn some things around and show people, okay, let me show you a different way you can do this? Well, especially young men.
With young people, the main 2 things I would say is choose your entertainment and choose your company. And by that route, you choose your future. So I'm gonna give you an example. I've used this example a few times. I was dealing with an artist, I ain't gonna say his name, rap guy in the city. We sitting here and we talking, and a pistol fall out of his pocket. So I'm like, like, you're a rapper, bro. What you doing with that? He's like, man, OG, too deep. I know you don't know because you don't really be in the streets like that, but you can't really do this rap stuff with a 9 to 5 because it takes too much money and you got to be able to move at a moment's notice. And I was like, well, I get you, but you sound like you came out in 95 because that's exactly why I got in the streets, because I wanted to do entertainment and didn't know how I was going to pay for it and be able to move. But the difference between me and you is I'm pre-Google. I'm pre-YouTube. I'm pre-Siri. I'm pre-Instagram.
We pre all that. we had to do all this in a different method. Yeah.
So I asked him a question. How many followers you got on your Instagram? Like 109,000 followers. If you can get 20 cents for each one of them people, you can make the same money that you make with that pistol without that pistol and not have to look over your shoulder.
Exactly.
The problem is you're hanging around a bunch of people that when you present a money problem to them, their answer is go to the streets.
Yeah.
When we're kids, we choose our friends by proximity. But when you become an adult, you're supposed to choose your friends by your purpose. So everybody that's around me in some way or another edifies my purpose in some form or another. This person motivates me to keep working out. This person always telling me about a new book he read. This person telling me, like some of the guests you have coming on, these guys are people I've been knowing for years. And they motivate me when I see them doing things and moving forward with their business. Like, oh man, I gotta, you know, even if there was a part of me that wanted to get lazy, I see my guys moving and it's a motivation. I don't look at it like competition. Whenever somebody around me win, I congratulate because I look at it like you're showing me you're not doing nothing I can't do. So you winning just shows me I can win in that way too.
What and that I'm gonna remember that. Move around people, especially adults that are working within your purpose as well. Yeah, I like that. What are some tips you would like to give to someone that wants to start a business? Because like I was telling the young ladies, I think a lot of people today just want to start a business just to say they have a business and just to say they have a title. That doesn't matter if you can't run a business correctly.
Everybody thinks they're a CEO, but some people just hard-headed. Just because you don't want to listen to anybody don't make you a CEO.
Exactly.
Sometimes you're just hard-headed and you need to get over yourself. What I would say is if you're curious, see if you can find somebody that's already doing it and intern with them. And you get to see, you know, some of the ups and downs of what they go through and you get a kind of a watch it without experiencing it kind of a thing. It takes a lot of courage, but I would say don't hesitate. Don't get into the paralysis of analysis. A lot of us do that. We'll sit here and be thinking about an idea for 8 years.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, time is passing and none of us are guaranteed.
No.
Some people last night was last night.
Very much so. Very much so. I want to tell you thank you for being here. How can we, what's your social media stuff and give us all that information?
Hey man, say man, you tune in to Dope Man's favorite DJ with the A1 for your eardrum every day, all day, twice on Sunday. More game than the Funny Boys on Run Me, they run from me. 2D.E.E.P. That's 2D for spelling impaired. Soon to be your son's favorite ringtone. Already the reason why your wife might not wear the ring home. R.I.P. to the OG Ricky Cricket. If you ain't rock with him, we can't kick it. Give me a second look on Facebook, DJ IIDEEP. I'm the same thing on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Twitter, on Christian Mingle, on MySpace, on Black People Meet, and all of that. And if you need to get directly in contact with me, 832-428-8566 to get your fix. I never changed my number because I ain't never messed over nobody's money. My number been the same since Prime Code.
You know what? I don't even know if we can put all that on there. Hey,
I can do it again.
Thank you again for being here. When we return, guys, from a quick break, we'll have another one of my awesome entrepreneurs sitting down with us and talking about business and storefronts and all that good stuff. So we'll be right back.
The Adolph Group at Equity House Properties. We provide residential, commercial, leasing apartment locating. We provide consulting on home buying, home selling and credit restoration. We help with private investments through All Faith Investment Corporation. Contact us now, the Adolph Group at Equity House Properties. We make real estate your reality.
we're back now, and I have my next entrepreneur, Mr. Brandon Stewart, is here with me. Is it next level?
That's right,
next level. So let's get started on this here. And tell me, what was the one thing that sparked you to go into business and own your own business?
I got tired of being fired and laid off from jobs.
Okay.
I had a bunch of jobs that, I was going in there working in corporate America, and they were getting layoffs and mergers and stuff like that. And, they didn't really care about my personal schedule, and I was only as good to them as long as I was working for them.
Yeah.
But once the higher ups decided that this job is over, they let me go. And I just got tired of that because my bills were still coming. I said, you know what? I already had the idea for working for myself, but I just finally just pushed it and just said, I'm going to do this. I ain't getting laid off no more.
So how many times were you told no? Because I think a lot of people, they are told no, and then they just go hide somewhere in a corner. But a lot of people, I think me and DJ Deep talked briefly about that. People fail, but we don't always hear that story.
Right, for sure. I was told no a lot, like especially in the beginning when I was trying to get like a personal loan to even fund the business, and all the banks were saying no. And I realized from a wise person that the banks will only give you money once you can prove to them that you don't need their money, which is the most backwards thing ever. So I had to just take my personal money that I had and invest it in myself.
What made you continue to keep on?
I had no other choice. At the time, my grandparents were going through transition where they was needing nursing home assistance, and that stuff ain't cheap, and that care ain't cheap, and I just never been a person to ask for handouts, so I'd rather struggle. I was eating peaches out of a can, hot dogs on the plate, you know what I mean, until I figured it out. So people, they see now and they be like, oh man, you doing good, but they don't see those 4 or 5 years I was struggling.
The startup of it. Tell us about Next Level.
Next Level is an automotive company where we specialize in paint, body work, car restoration, car shipping. We do car rentals, luxury rentals. We'll travel to your doorstep and drop your car off, tint your windows, glass replacement. We do everything for your car.
Okay, I'm glad I know that because I need my windows tinted.
Oh, we got you. Picking up and dropping off.
I'm glad I know that information.
For sure.
Tell us how hard it is to have a storefront or to start to open up a storefront, and what advice do you have for somebody that wants to open up a storefront? Because it's one thing to have a, like my other ladies that was here, she has a travel company. She owns, so she doesn't need a particular storefront or anything. How hard is that?
I think it's very hard, especially when I would say like a minority and you don't really know.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, the first time I was trying to get the store, I remember I literally spent like 3 days. I was going place to place to place, call them places, and as soon as I told them what I was trying to do, and they asked me my history in the business at the time, I didn't have that many as far as references, so they were like, nah, we're going to pass. But don't give up, because the place I wasn't even trying to get, I said, man, I'm tired of calling people, tired of hearing no. I went in and called him anyway. He said, you know what? Meet me tomorrow. And I was like, for real? All right. And that call that I wasn't going to make ended up being the best call that I ever did make.
Okay. Tell us, because you also went from automotive to apparel wear.
Yes, ma'am.
How and why? Because that's a whole different.
Totally different. Yeah. Honestly, the apparel became because at the shop we was already wearing our merch already from the Next Level, and people just kept asking about it. It's like, well, can we buy that or can we wear that? And I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess you can. So we started printing off shirts that we could just give out to people at first, and we just started giving them out, and people started buying them, and caps and license plate frames. So now we got it on everything from cups. We got, man, whatever you could think of. We had masks when the pandemic first hit, like, you know what I mean? So we got it on everything.
So how important is branding for a company?
Branding is everything. Like, it's like one of those situations where you can be working and not even working. If you sleep with somebody that has your product or they got your apparel, like somebody's gonna ask that person, where'd you get that from? And you're not even there. So it's a 24/7 promotion without you having to even open up your mouth.
Okay. What would you say to a young man that has dreams but scared to make them happen?
Man, you have to chase those dreams, because like fear is going to get you nowhere, especially in entrepreneurship. There's a lot of people that don't know. In my personal situation, I'm the first entrepreneur in my family. So everybody around me when I was struggling was like, just go work at UPS. Go work over here. And I'm like, I'm not against that. I don't down anybody that has a job. But for me, I've lost enough already from time and energy and frustration, so I'm going to go my way. And so initially they didn't understand that. So if you that young man that's trying to figure it out, believe in yourself, because people are not going to know what to tell you because they haven't walked your path. So they can't guide you on something that they never walked down the road on. So you got to believe in yourself and go your own way.
Okay. Okay, I love it. I love it. Tell us what's next for Next Level, and give us your social media platforms and stuff like that.
For Next Level, we're going to be everywhere. Like she said, branding is important. We're going to keep expanding branding, keep on having different ideas, keep bringing more cars and rentals to everybody. So we finna blow it up.
And you also had a location in LA, right?
Yeah, we started actually in LA, in Long Beach. That's why I soaked up a lot of game, because California, they have a lot of trends out there. So we brought those trends to Houston, and that's why the rentals really started.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you for being here with me.
Of course. Yes, ma'am.
Most definitely. And when we return, we will have our final entrepreneur, and he's going to talk to us about liquor, spirits. So,
the juice.
Yeah. For real. So we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Willie Adolph of the Adolph Group at Equity House Properties. I'm here today to talk to you about home purchasing. You know, a lot of times people want to know, where do we start, when do we start, how much do we need to save, what our credit score need to be like, can I really move in now? And the answer is yes. The thing is that you want to get pre-approved first before you even go house shopping, because what you wouldn't want to happen is that you find the perfect home, but the bank won't qualify you for your mortgage. So always get pre-approved first. So find a good lender, which we have a lot of resources for you on that. Second, you want to make sure that anything that's on your credit, if it's something that you can work with, let's work with it, because everything on your credit, you know, it depends on what it is for each mortgage company. And third, once you get that pre-approval, now it's time to go house shopping. Now, Willie, what about the money, the down payment and things like that? Well, they have a lot of programs that's out there. So based on your credit will depend on the down payment assistance that you can receive. But we do have a lot of resources and a lot of things that can help you. And everyone with the Adolph Group will hold you by your hand and walk you through the whole process. So you can contact us at www.theadolphgroup.com or 281-451-7087. And remember, when you have will, you have a way.
I am back now with my last awesome entrepreneurs, and I hope everybody has learned a lot so far. But this gentleman here will talk to us about being an entrepreneur, but also will talk to us about spirits.
Liquor spirits, that is, yes.
So please welcome Mr. Broderick to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Monique, for having me.
I've been asking this question, and I think I've asked it to all the men. What sparked your fire in you to work for yourself?
I've always had an entrepreneur spirit, and so basically what I did was, when I got to this side of Houston, because I'm originally from Fort Worth, Texas, I actually, me and my best friend, even to this day, I ended up joining him with a record label, and so that kind of started it, but I still had my 9 to 5. After a while, I got out the entertainment business, but I was still working my 9 to 5. But I was in a dead-end position, and I just really felt stuck. And then the idea came along for me to start my own liquor line, and that's what I did. So really, it was a combination of just a lot of variables that was going on, but mainly just being in a position where I just could not express myself, and I really expressed myself through business and through entrepreneurship.
Okay, since 2018, tell me one high and one low as a business owner.
Okay, so one high, we have many highs, by the way. Legendary Peach Tea Rum is the world's only peach tea rum.
We're about to get to the rum.
Yes,
so.
yes. But I had to plug that in real quick. So one high, which is probably the biggest one, is once we were able to get the licenses, because if you're in this industry, one thing that you'll find out real quick, there's a lot of regulations, there's a lot of permits, there's a lot of licenses that you have to get, and they do enormous background checks on you from everybody that's connected to your business. So so it's a lot that you go through. That was the first big high that I would say. And the lowest of lows as of today is we were going to launch in April 2020. Right around that time, COVID hit. Or we went on the mandate where we had to do the social distancing and be indoors or whatever. So it derailed like our launch day because this happened in March. And I'll be honest with you, Monique, I really didn't have no clue how we was going to get out the pandemic. And technically, you know, we're still in a pandemic.
Yeah.
So that was just like demoralizing. But, you know, through perseverance, we were able to launch later that year, which was August 2020.
Okay. Let's talk about Legendary, the peach rum that I need for you to make in a white rum. I need you to
well,
make it
for those that don't know, yes, it does come in a brown.
But tell us how it came about and how important branding and marketing plays a big part. That's your part one of that question.
Okay, so how it came about is, as I mentioned just a moment ago, an opportunity came where, well, I thought about this idea when I was in the music industry, but then I had an idea of actually making it a reality. So I'll tell you a quick story about Legendary. It was originally supposed to be a vodka.
Okay.
And so the word Legendary actually came from my son, who's 16 years old. At that time, I couldn't figure out exactly what I wanted to call it. And so what I did was I had him, you know, give me a bunch of names, and the name he gave me was Legendary. And so I figured, okay, I'm gonna translate that name into a French name because French, that's where you get some of your best vodkas. So that's where the word Legendary came from, okay? And so as far as the creation of it, when I sat down, and we went over this like in brainstorming sessions, when I sat down and thought about it, we couldn't go with a vodka because it's way too much competition.
Yeah.
So then we thought about, okay, we need to come up with something that is not on the market, but it has to be in a position to where you're going to want to try it, and it's going to be a very good product. So just to put everything in a nutshell, when we came up with Legendary Peach Tea Rum, we knew there was nothing on the market that was peach tea, and it was very smooth and it has no aftertaste. That was the creation of it. As far as the second part of your question,
well, that's really the first part. We're still on the first part, branding and marketing. How big of a part it plays. That's
well,
your part one.
So branding and marketing is very essential to any business because as being a graduate at Prairie View A&M, that's actually my background is in marketing. So when it comes to branding, anybody that can recognize your logo, they can recognize your name, if they can recognize a face of a brand or a product or service or whatever, that is huge because that's almost walking advertisement. So branding is very key. Marketing is just, and a lot of people that don't understand the science behind marketing, with marketing, you have an actual target audience that you're going for. So when you do your research and you do a thing that's called marketing research, when you actually get the target that you're looking for, your results will come. So it is extremely important. And that's why so many people put a lot of money advertising dollars.
Yeah. Part two of that question, I think you touched on it a little bit. Give us some of the process of creating and selling your own liquor, because like you initially said, it's a process. It has to go through before you get a approval to say.
Absolutely. So the process, yes, and I can go back to that part that I mentioned. The process of it, for me, and this is what I would give to anyone who's thinking about getting into the business, do your homework. Study and figure out the things that you're going to need. So you can go in as a manufacturer, let's say like me. You want to know what type of licenses you need for the state. You want to know what the requirements are going to be. You want to know like what entities will be involved in your business. And there's a reason for that. Because when you start this business, you're going to have resources. You're going to have a lot of people and a team to help push you through. You don't want to throw a lot of money into a money pit and then you get to the point where you can't even get the business off the ground. So I would say definitely study this before you jump in, because I know a lot of people think about like liquor and money and stuff like that, but yes, there's a lot you have to do before you get to that point.
And I think each state is different, right?
Yes, it is.
Each state is different.
Yes, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And then the second part of that, I would say that anybody who is trying to do this, listen, go for it. But just do your work, like do your homework, because this is not an overnight success.
And this is a question I've asked the men, what would you say to a young man that has dreams but scared to make it happen?
So the way I look at that is there are two types of fears. The one that you alluded to, just being scared and not wanting to do it. The second one is the fear of not doing what you should be doing. So the way that I look at that question, the way that or even when I talk to people, I have a bigger fear of regret than I do of actually losing. Because the thing about if you lose in the situation where you're trying to make happen, you can always learn from that. If I don't ever make a move or make a step to try to go towards my goals or my dream, I don't know how that would have turned out. So I'm always left with a question mark because I don't know. That scares me more than the losing itself, because I can always take away from a loss and say, hey, if I just switch this and do this, then the result can be a win. So I would tell anybody that has that fear, listen, everybody that's ever did anything great, the people that you admire, the celebrities or whoever you're following, none of us have all the answers. So it started with them having a fear to go out there, and you just it's a progression. You just keep at it, and next thing you know, you'll be where you're trying to be.
Okay. What's next for the brand? My white rum is next for the brand.
Yeah, so listen,
rum.
you heard it first. Monique is saying that it's
white
going to be a
rum.
white rum. Legendary. So it'll be our store soon. That's what's next. But we will do that at some point. We really will, and we'll actually run a campaign to say that we did it on this show. We talked about it, and we'll make it happen. But what's next for us is Atlanta. We're launching in Atlanta. I'm super excited about that. We have a lot of opportunity out there. And so the location where we're going to launch is actually going to be in the Gathering Spot. So if you know anything about Atlanta, you know this is huge, because anyone that's a mover and shaker that's in Atlanta, they're all members there, and we're going to start off with a tasting in front of their members, and then we're actually going to launch into that city. So I'm super excited about it.
And was it hard to get into Atlanta, because Atlanta rules for liquor is probably totally different from Texas, right?
Yes, it is. It is. I would tell you what I think for us in that state, because I think everybody's pathway will be different. So we had support from within, and I have to give this shout out to my guy that's out there in Atlanta, Justin Samuels. Very big key to what we're doing in Atlanta. He's making a lot of moves. And do I got time to just mention my team too?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yes, I appreciate that. So I just want to give a shout out to my team, my business partners, Marquise, Michael, my team, Dale, CC, Rose, Cassandra, Lance, and Princess, and the people that's supporting us. We even got some that's watching this now that supports us. And so, and even Monique, because she supports us too. And that's why I'm on this show, and I appreciate you having me, as I mentioned earlier. So, yeah, so we just got a lot of support. We've been very, very blessed, and I'm so sorry. I gotta mention this. I don't know why I didn't start this. I gotta thank the man above, because he's put me in this position, and I don't take it for granted. So, and that's pretty much that's pretty much what it is.
So Atlanta is next up for the brand.
Yes, and Atlanta will be launching in May. Originally it was going to be scheduled for April, but then we got some other additions because they want to do some tastings as well, so it's actually going to be May. So it'll be the third week in May. Okay,
give us your social media stuff.
So social media, you can actually follow the company page, which is @LegendarySpirits. If you want to follow my page personally, that's going to be @legendary.ceo. And also on Facebook, it's @Legendary Spirits as well.
I want to thank you so much for coming today and talking to us about Legendary and what it's like to bring liquor, a spirit, to flourishing. So thank you so very much for that today.
I appreciate most definitely. You having me.
So we'll be right back so I can close out the show for everybody.
Wisdom Tax. Maybe I should give him a call. Oh, how did you get in my house again?
Now you know I told you I'm with Wisdom Tax.
Well, I'm glad you showed up, because I think I'm ready to get started.
Great. Look, I just need you to do one simple step. Visit our website online, www.wisdomtax.org. All right, fill out the application, and we'll get back to you maybe even in the next 10 minutes.
Awesome. I'm about to be free. Look, this is amazing. You know, so what? Hello?
Call us at Wisdom Tax, where you learn to be free.
I want to say thank you to all my entrepreneurs today for being here with us and removing the mask, the true mask, on entrepreneurship. So if you would like any information on any of these guests, please contact the Our Life TV Show at gmail.com. Always like, follow, share the Our Life TV Show, and catch us every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on the On Point Network, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Xbox, and AT&T TV Now. Until next time, always empower, always encourage, pull up to the table with confidence but without fear, and continue to remove your mask.